Well, good Monday Monday. Did I say Monday? Good Wednesday afternoon. Forgive me, everybody out there listening. I didn't mean to hex us, curse us into the beginning of the week, but whew, thank good. I know why. I thought it was Monday. I've got the Pirate game on. Hold on, let me check the score. Oh, okay. It's only 11-0. What was it last night, folks? 13-1. I really thought they could have come back. But, yeah, the Cincinnati Reds putting one on us this afternoon. The game started at 12:35. Not going the Bucco way, ladies and gentlemen, not going the Bucco way. Here's what we're doing today. Liner notes during the 4 o'clock hour. Of course, that means Jon Banco will join me. We'll talk about all the schedules. We're going to talk about the Center Market concerts and what's going on up at Oglebay and good stuff like that. And then our good friend Gregg Molnar, a local musician. He's played in, I forget how many bands. I think the number's up to 178. But Gregg's going to give us a call. Wanted him to come over, but hey, Gregg's retired now. So Gregg's doing Gregg. But we're going to have a great conversation with Gregg Molnar, second half of Liner Notes. Around 4:30, we'll bring him on. But right now, gentlemen that actually realized a dream about coming home. And he's now the general manager of golf operations up at Oglebay, Mr. Danny Ackerman. Danny, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you, Steve. Great to be with you.
Yeah, and how many years has it been now since you got the chance to come home?
I came home in spring of 2017, so I've been back 4 years, starting year number 5.
All right.
It is great to be back in the Valley.
Yeah, and you had that opportunity. Where were you, Danny? Tell us about the path you took away from Wheeling.
Yeah, I played college golf at West Virginia University, and there at West Virginia, my father and I participated in an event down the Pinehurst area called the Father-Son National Championship. And when we went down there and played it in a few years when I was in college, a friend of mine, Rich Wainwright, who also played collegiately at West Virginia, was on the staff down there. And when we'd go down, we'd visit. And at the end of my senior year, Rich said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I've got another semester of student teaching and probably following Dad's footsteps." Well, one thing led to another, and he said, "If you ever thought about getting in the golf business," he said, "I think you'd work out well down here." So he kind of opened the door for me, and one thing led to another, and I was at Pinehurst for 12 years.
Wow!
And just was a great opportunity, and from there I went to a place on the east side of Cleveland called Quail Hollow Golf Club and Resort. It's a 36 hole, and then after a couple years there, I got a little closer to home and lived over in Zanesville, and was the general manager, director of golf at the Longenberger Golf Club for almost 18 years there before coming back home.
Well, there you go. Now, I've golfed a couple of those places you talked about. One only on Tiger Woods Golf, though.
You and a lot of people.
I know. Honestly, Danny, there for a little while, I had that game down. I played with a lot of people, and they were like, I can show you how always to get a hole in one on par threes. And I'm like, what? And it worked. And my all-time low score, I taught everything to my son Michael as well. So he and I were going at it, and I beat him. Get this, Danny, you're going to love this. 29-30.
Well, that's realistic, isn't it?
Oh, sure. And it got to the point, Danny, that where if I was on a par 3, it was always a hole in one. Because there were, there were a couple of tricks, right? So I told my son, I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make that work on a real golf course. I'm still working on that, Danny.
You and me both, Steve.
Still working on that. Now we'll get into the courses and everything here in a little bit, but I'm going to admit to you right now, I know that Palmer is beautiful and Jones is Jones, but my all-time favorite course at Oglebay is Crispin and will forever be Crispin.
Well, I think it has a soft spot in many of our local golfers, and that is shown by the amount of play that we have there. We get more play at Crispin than the other two. meaning the Palmer and the Jones, and it is patronized primarily by our locals, and I think that's the meat and potato of golf. I mean,
Yeah.
I talked about being at Pinehurst and over at Longenberger, and they were fantastic places. But really, when you look at them, where the vast majority of golfers are, they are daily fees that that enjoy a fun experience, and I think that's what Crispin gives you. A little more generous off the tee, flatter greens. You can feel comfortable there.
Yeah, you can, and there's plenty of other reasons. Like I said, we'll get into that during the second segment. But Danny, a moment ago, you said, "Hey, your buddy said, hey, Danny, you interested in getting into the golf business? Tell me about the golf business."
Yeah, at that time I really didn't know a darn thing,
Right.
right out of college. But as I've evolved into the business, at my years at Pinehurst, essentially as an assistant pro, it's working at the counter, checking in people for golf and running tournaments and that sort of thing. Down at Pinehurst, I did teach 11 years down there, what they call their Golf Advantage program. So I was an instructor a lot. And then my last 4 years, I was actually the head golf professional, the number 6 course. So at Pinehurst, it was like a big machine, and I was just a little gear to help keep it moving. But in my opportunities then up at Quail Hollow, the business aspect of it becomes more important. Driving revenues, creating a better golf experience. Golf has gone through a period of time, gosh, since I've been in the business, to where, let's say in the 80s and even into the 90s, where there was such a boom between Tiger and a lot of golf courses being built for real estate purposes as well. And golf, like any other business, is supply and demand. And unfortunately, in the golf business, it went through a period where the supply of courses was larger than the demand. And in the golf industry, it created quite a problem for a lot of people that had just built brand new golf courses.
Right.
So, from a business side, it's no different than having 2 hamburger joints on the same street, and if you build a third, there isn't, another X amount of people that are going to be eating hamburgers, that you're still pulling from the same amount of people. And that was tough for a lot of golf courses, and 15 years ago, we started to see an attrition in golf courses, closing, selling, different things, and so the balance of golf is starting to level out a little bit more. Although COVID has had a tremendous impact from a positive standpoint in golf. But
right.
My dealings with the business part of it is managing our customer service, managing our conditions and what the expectations of our people, and then you're held accountable to the revenues and the expenses, and trying to create a business that's self-sustainable, by which you can put more money back into it to keep your product up, to make people happy, to keep the business thriving, just like really any other business that someone's trying to run, whether it's a bar or a restaurant or a theme park, whatever it might be.
Right. Now, Danny, you mentioned COVID, and hey, I guarantee you, one of your favorite people in the whole wide world is Governor Wolf from Pennsylvania.
It was a scary time last year, Steve, when this was all happening. And I mean, I can remember I went to our annual meeting in Florida and was flying back, and it was really the last weekend that on flights where they, nobody was masked up yet, and a week later it was kind of almost total shutdown. And
Yep.
we're kind of getting ready to kick off our season, wondering if we're going to have a season.
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to perform this? Are we going to be able to stay safe and open? And yes, for a short period of time, we made a commitment to stay open and stay open safely. And I'm very happy and proud of our staff and how they handled it. We handled it. And even the people that came here and patronized our facility, how happy they were that they had a place to kind of have an outlet. And I'm proud to say that we played over 82,000 rounds of golf this past year, and we had no what they call COVID tracings back to anybody connected to our employees and to playing golf here. So I think that speaks very highly of what happened. But to your point of Pennsylvania and Governor Wolf,
Yeah.
they in the month of April they shut down golf and really everything. So we had several of our people from up north, so to speak, come down and visit us during that time,
Oh, yeah.
and got comfortable with the Ohio Valley. And what's really been neat about it is we've gained some patrons from up there that had never been here before.
Right.
And even though it was just whether it's 45 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes away, so many of them were really happy with their experience and really enjoyed our product and now have become somewhat regular, customers of ours. They're not playing once every week, but they're coming down 2 and 3 times a summer now.
Yeah, and you're welcome, by the way, Daniel. From my years up in Pittsburgh, I made a lot of friends, and they're like, hey, we want to golf. Well, come on down. I got great courses right here in my backyard. And
That's absolutely right.
yeah, and then, they've already scheduled a trip down. They got a cabin for a week, and we're going to do it again. And because we golfed all the courses, not Wheeling Park, but, we golfed all the courses, and they really, really liked it. So they went ahead, got a cabin as soon as they could, and, you'll see us up there for a week in June. And, my daughter, she lives in the Bridgeville area. She's a respiratory therapist at UPMC, and, she's like, Dad, everything's closed here. Can we go to dinner down there? I was like, honey, you come down here anytime you want. I'll take you to dinner any evening you want. And so, Governor Wolf helped us too, because, anytime I get to see my daughter, it's a good time.
Absolutely.
But I'll be honest with you, Danny, some days, the big stay-at-home order and everything, I would look at Michelle and I'd be like, take me somewhere. Just drive me through, somewhere. And she knows Oglebay is one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. And especially on Father's Day, she's like, hey, why don't we take a cruise, maybe have a picnic up at Oglebay on Father's Day? I was like, outstanding. And when we drove through, it was like, wow, everybody here local remembered they had Oglebay up on the top of this hill. And I just thought that was a great thing for Oglebay because, some locals may, forget about it or take it for granted. And, during the shutdown, during COVID, they did not take it for granted because they were allowed to be there, whether it was on a golf course, at a picnic bench, or wherever. And, I look for big attendance for all the way around for Oglebay this spring, summer, and fall because of that.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to continue. We had a fantastic year up at ski over the winter because it was an outside activity that people got excited about. Golf last year really had a record year for us. In talking to my peers, really not just even in our local area, but just down in North Carolina and Florida and New York, that I have guys that I've worked with. I mean, it's the same everywhere. And I think that people, they needed an outlet.
Yeah.
And some people that used to play golf, maybe when they were younger, saw it as an opportunity to get back into the game. And I think that things like Top Golf, statistics with Top Golf that we have up in Pittsburgh, that their numbers are showing almost 40% of the people that are attending there have never played golf before.
Huh.
And they feel comfortable in that social atmosphere to try it. But that 30 and 40% that are trying it that never have tried it before are showing in questionnaires that almost 70% of them want to try to take up the game. So Top Golf, even though it's very different than playing on a golf course, is really, I think, starting because now the Top Golf is evolving across the United States. For so many years it was only a spot here and a spot there, but now we have one in Pittsburgh, you have one in Columbus, you have them in Cincinnati, and they're just popping up everywhere. And I think it's helping facilitate the growth in the game. But the COVID aspect of it, people felt comfortable. Not only did they feel comfortable, they needed something.
Yeah.
And I think golf was that outlet. So it drove people that used to play back, and I think we've created some new customers and people that just needed to try something and get out with their friends and try something new. And for us, it was a shot in the arm that the golf business sorely needed.
Yeah, I agree with you. Danny Ackerman on the show, ladies and gentlemen, the general manager of golf operations up at Oglebay. And, I don't know how you feel about Top Golf, Danny, but I'm not a fan. I was super curious, right? My son was out in Virginia Beach, and he goes, Dad, there's this really neat thing out here. It's called Top Golf. So I Google it, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then, I'm looking at all the different games that you can play and all that. And I'm like, oh, all right. And then they build the one up in the Bridgeville area of Pittsburgh. And,
Right.
My dad's like, hey, my son's like, hey, Dad, let's just go up there. Let's try it out. And, hey, don't go hungry. Okay. That's just what I'm going to tell everybody. Don't go there hungry. Okay. The grilled cheese is $11. Okay, so don't go hungry. But I don't know. It felt like the clubs are governed. It was only 260 yards to the end of the tent, I guess you can call it, or the net. And
Right.
I hit 310, 320 consistently, and I'm not hitting the back of this net. And and then I'm aiming at these targets, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, I won't go again. Let's just put it that way. I'll
Well,
go.
I wouldn't say I'm 100% with you, but it's not my cup of tea either. It
Yeah,
really is a social. y- My son and a couple of his friends have gone up a couple times, and yeah, they go up as much for the food and the drink, and no, it's not cheap.
no.
But it is much more social. It is, I said, it's not my cup of tea. I'd if I had a few hours to spend, I'd rather put a bag over my shoulder and go walk Crispin or the Jones course or do something like that, is to go up there. But that's what the positive side from I guess an operator is, that it's introducing, and there's to each his own.
Right, right.
And people that enjoy that, if it's helping have them gravitate towards our game in a different way of getting there, I'm all for it. But yeah, it's not my cup of tea. It's just like I'm not huge on simulators. Again, I
Right.
think in the winter to go hit at a few of those, that's kind of enjoyable, just to have fun, to get some swings in. But I'd much rather spend my time out on the golf course or out on the putting green or on a real driving range hitting golf balls and trying to get better at the game of golf,
Right, right. No,
than with computer chipped golf balls.
yeah, but and that place up the Highlands, it's like okay, but same way I feel about Top Golf. I'm with you, Danny. I'd rather, if I'm not on a golf course, then put me on a driving range.
Yep.
Like right now, I just got a brand new driver. Can't wait to go up and get on the driving range to feel this thing out. And then my son, whose birthday is next week, we either go to a game, we go golfing, we go do something on his birthday. So I think, I don't know which course he has chosen because it's always his choice. But obviously it'll be an Oglebay course, and obviously because of what I told you before, I'm hoping it's Crispin. But Danny, Palmer has really grown. This is going to sound weird maybe, but Palmer has really grown up. When it first was, constructed and opened and everything, it was pretty wide open. And, I don't mind that, but now it's got, I don't know, it's got a texture to it. And I think that texture gives it, I don't know, more for me or more to me. And I can't wait to get on that course again this summer as well.
Well, Palmer definitely, between the Jones and the Palmer, is enjoyed by a greater majority of our golfers. I think it's. I alluded to that earlier, why so many of our locals enjoy Crispin, in that it is more playable than either the Palmer or the Jones. but what the Palmer has is a little more playability than the Jones does from the average golfer. It's easier to shoot a score. It's a little bit more generous off the tee. Palmer golf courses, I've always felt, were unique in the sense that from a tee, I think there was a visual of not difficulty, but intimidation but as you played his golf courses, I don't want to say they're easy, but they're not as hard as they look.
Right,
and
right.
I think that's kind of neat. That's almost a neat way to build a golf course to visually and be somewhat intimidating or to challenge you, but at the same time, once you play them, that you find that they're very, again, good golfers for the average players, but they have the characteristics to them that I think people want to see in a top golf course.
I'm going to agree with you, Danny, because what I tell people, and they are, when I take like last summer when my friends came down, they're like, "Oh, you have a Palmer course," and I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Are you going to take us on that?" I was like, "Yeah," and all I'm going to tell you is no grip it and rip it, okay? If you want to do yourself a favor, don't grip it and rip it. Take care of your shot. And, at the end of the first time we played it, they're like, "That was great advice. That's a fun course." Because you're right, Danny, just what you said, it may be intimidating, but once you get out there playing, you can score.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a fair chances to, depending upon what your level it is, if it's bogey par or if it's birdie par. I think whatever level you are, you have an opportunity to make some good scores. Now, everybody has fun when that's happening.
Now, Mr. Jones must have just hated everybody.
You know what I'll say about the Jones, and to be quite honest, it is my favorite.
Okay.
But I think we have some locals around here that it's kind of like what you grew up with. Whether it's mom's meatloaf, man, that's your favorite meatloaf.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you grew up on. And I grew up, kind of graduating from Wheeling Park to Crispin to the Jones, and Jones is what I played growing up from high school and through college and everything. So it's what I like. Though what I tell people, what Oglebay has is very unique, and I think the more people that understand this, once they understand this, they gain a greater appreciation. When some people say, "Well, Crispin's not that good a golf course," or "the Jones is too hard," or this or that, and I said, "Well, no." I said you have to understand that when Crispin was made, it was made with a mule and a plow.
Yeah.
And really, when you look at Oglebay, you see three eras of architecture. And when you have Crispin, you have push-up greens and tees. The greens, for the most part, are fairly flat, other than a few of them go a little bit with the slopes of the greens or of the terrain. And then, you go to the Jones. There was a little bit more architecturally where they created more bunkers. The tees were built up a little bit more. Some of the greens have a little bit more shape to them. By and large, the fairways still go with the slope of the land. Some there was dirt moved, but by and large, not a lot. And then the Palmer, that's when you come into the 21st century and,
right.
and you move 2 million cubic yards of dirt to make sure all the fairways are more playable and 5 sets of tees and that sort of thing. And that's just kind of how golf has evolved. And there's challenges with moving that much dirt because Mother Nature, a lot of the rainwater wants to go where it wants to go, and as much as you try to navigate it, it over time creates some problems and challenges that you end up dealing with, and what I would call a simple architecture golf course. Crispin, for the most part, the water runs off the hills and it rolls through the low area and off those fairways, and it doesn't take long for them to dry up.
Right.
And which is nice. And sometimes, unfortunately, in the summer, they dry up too fast.
Yeah, they do.
Of that. And but that's just the nature of when they were built and what the people building had available to them.
Yeah. Now, you be honest with me, Danny. Then we're going to take our bottom of the hour break. Okay. How difficult was it when you came home in 2017 to quit calling Jones Spite Out?
Oh, I couldn't. Gosh, it's just as you said, Steve. That's just how I grew up.
Yeah.
We went to Spidell and we played Spidell, and we even had a saying when I was in college. I was fortunate to win 2 collegiate events here at my home golf course, Spidell, and a couple of the other players at West Virginia. They didn't fare too well, and they used to say, "Spidell, Spidell, all the rest can." And you
go to hell. Go ahead, say it, brother. Spidell, Spidell.
It was really at that time, without a doubt, the most difficult golf that we played collegiately. And at 7,000 yards in 1970, it really was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
When you think about distance and how big that golf course was. If I'm not mistaken, I think in 1970 there was only like 2 or 3 PGA Tour courses that were over 7,000 yards.
Wow.
That the Tour played, and when that was opened in 1970, it was a little over 7,000 yards. So it was really ahead of its time when it was built. So that's was really neat and speaks well for the group of people with Mr. Jones to design that, and all the people at Oglebay to allow him to create something that special.
Yeah, I still call it Spidell though, Danny. I mean, I just do. All right, we're going to go ahead and take the bottom of the hour break, okay? And Danny?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
I appreciate it. Danny Ackerman, ladies and gentlemen, he is the general manager of golf operations at Oglebay. We're going to talk about those courses. Of course, we already are, but what's our favorite hole on which course and all that, what improvements have been made, and what's planned for the future. So the conversation with Danny Ackerman is going to continue here in a moment. I am Steve Novotney, ladies and gentlemen. It is Steve Novotney Lives right here on Lead News. Well, the Pirates go down 11-4, ladies and gentlemen. 11-4. That's not good. Not good at all. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm Steve Novotney. Let's go right back to our first guest today, Mr. Danny Ackerman, talking about, well, he's the general manager of golf operations up at, hold on, there it is, okay, up at Oglebay. So he we're having a great conversation about, Oglebay. And, Danny, you got to tell me, okay, now, what's the percentage of golfers? You said 82,000 rounds. If you had to guess, unless you've already tabulated, what's the percentage of those rounds played by locals as opposed to, the people that come and visit the park?
That's a good question. I can tell you that we played last year about 13,000 at Wheeling Park. We played about 25, almost 26,000 at Crispin. And then, 20 each roughly here at Jones and Palmer. It's over 50% that are played by locals.
Yeah.
Which is a lot when you figure that, the size of our community and we're able to sustain. I talked earlier about supply and demand. Unfortunately, our local could not allow all of those golf courses to sustain
right.
without the outside influence of the resort and everything. So we're kind of blessed to have a little bit of the best of both worlds, that that we have some time when the resort guests come in and pay a little bit more than our locals do and stay at the resort and allow it to be affordable for our locals with the Valley, either the Valley Card or the Valley Pass and Valley Card Plus and play daily at a more reasonable rate.
Yeah, Danny, at one point I was able to golf maybe 3 times a week, and then you're always dumb enough to get so busy that you might be able to golf once every 2 weeks. But I promised myself, no kidding, I promised myself and my son Well, I'm golfing more this summer, in spring, summer, and fall, and I'm fishing more because I'm one of those people that's like, yeah, I'll add that to lead, or I'll do this, and you just take away from that time, not only with family, but time for yourself, as opposed to sitting behind this damn desk all day long. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, that's something that, I was very fortunate, Steve, my father and we played golf
Yep.
literally every Saturday and Sunday together with his group of guys up here. And as kids, I started at Wheeling Park with George and Joe Templin and George Melnick and Bobby Reiser, and we played Wheeling Park so many darn times when we were 10 or 11 years old we got dizzy, I think, running around there. And then, as time goes on, that you find that getting outside and doing some of those things, that just how important they are to you, and if you don't take advantage of them, what we have here, that you kind of are hurting yourself,
Yeah, I do, Danny. And Danny, you're being very careful too. Of course, I was up at Crispin yesterday, and I was like, huh. And there were a lot of golfers, and there was a table out front, and my wife's like, hey, it looks like they're having an event, and I was like, I don't know, let's go see. And it was the concession stand outside.
Okay, to be quite honest, I know that they've tried to do some things over there and get things up and running, and with over here at Spidell with our concessions, we're able to go. We're up to 100% now, but it's still, you have to be what they call socially distanced in the tables, in the arrangement, and that sort of thing. And that's what we're finding right now, Steve, is people are taking advantage. And I know my wife and I, if we can go out to eat and we can eat outside, that's what we've become accustomed to, and really almost selective in where we might go to eat right now, if that's an option. So, and that's so up here at Spidell and at Crispin, you can go out there on the kind of the veranda on the outside there and sit down and get something to eat and feel a little bit more comfortable with just kind of with everything that's going on, and feeling a little more comfortable.
Always got to be in the Harry Ham clubhouse, though.
There you go.
I just, I knew the man from, my parents were good friends with the Hams, and I'm still friends with all the kids, all 12 of them, yes. And, every May 20th, I remind people, that flagpole at Heritage Port, that's the Harry Ham flagpole. And, there are reasons why that clubhouse is named after him. And, of course, I mean, he had a vision. And thankfully, the people of Wheeling picked it up every few years. They look at it, and they allow it to guide them, because that man was a visionary, and he was one brilliant man.
Yeah, I mean, like you, Steve, I'd met Mr. Ham, but, I played high school golf with his son Bobby and Matt. That's the two of the boys that I knew the best, and he was very influential in and around our community, and very generous, as you well know, and meant so much to Oglebay. And when I first started playing here up on the hill, we didn't have a clubhouse. We had a little shack up there where you checked in golfer on one side, and you can get a Coke or a beer and a hot dog on the other.
Yep.
That was about it. So, we all very indebted to Mr. Ham and what he has meant to the park.
Yep. All right, now, Danny, let's have some fun. Again, my favorite's Crispin. If I had to guess, Danny, I bet you I've golfed 60% all my rounds at Oglebay on Crispin.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know why. I think it's because I'll ask anybody to go golfing. And if they say, oh, I'm horrible, it's like, listen, we'll golf Crispin. It's where I learned to golf. You can hit your golf ball anywhere on that course, and I'm going to know where it is. Because,
you can still find it.
Because I've hit it there myself. And so,
we can all relate to that.
Right. So, and again, my friends from Pennsylvania, they wanted Palmer, not a problem. But, and my son, he loves Crispin too. Every once in a while we'll go out on well, I'm sorry, Spidell or Palmer, but most of the time it's Crispin. And if I'm only golfing 9, and I'm one of those guys, Danny, I'll go up after 2 and I'll golf by myself, just 9 holes. Or, well, now my wife has come with me, and, she's got her little pink balls and she likes to putt while I'm on the green. And I don't mind that. People call me crazy for taking Michelle golfing, and I'm like, why? I mean, if you don't like her, why are you married?
Yeah.
Those little things just kind of make sense to me. I don't know. But, I love the back 9 more so than the front 9, because the front 9 on Crispin is a little fishbowl-ish, and it just feels as if the back 9 has, I don't know, more of a more comfortable layout. I'm not sure how to put it.
I think the front 9 definitely has what I would call a little bit more. You feel like you're up and down a little bit more. I think the back 9. Gosh, holes really 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, just from a layout perspective. And I know we got a couple short par 4s in there, but just from a layout perspective, how they move with the lay of the land. You've got some trees right and left that that kind of frame the hole better. I do think like the second hole, par 3, is a fantastic par 3 anywhere. You could put that hole on anywhere on any golf course, and it would hold it would hold up as a very good hole.
Yep.
And it's just every night I go home, I get to see that hole driving home, and it's just beautiful how it sits in the hill there. But yeah, I'd totally agree with you, Steve, that the back 9, I'm kind of partial to the back 9. More so than the front, as far as the holes and how they lay out and how they just appeal to my eye and everything.
Well, plus you're off the road. The whole time you're off the road. On the front, you're obviously along 88 on 1 and 2, but still, you have the sightseers looking down at you on 3 and 4 from the lodge and so on and so forth. But and then you get 8 and 9, and then you're out in the woods, and of course those are both par 5s, and they're pretty long holes, but they're a heck of a lot of fun. Now, you mentioned number 2, Crispin, the par 3. I was going to ask you, what hole on whichever course do you find to be most difficult? And my answer is number 2 on Crispin.
Without a doubt. I mean, the part. I've always told people, if you play the par 3s at Crispin well, probably you feel like you should play 5 well, but daggone it, the second hole, the 7th hole, and the 13th hole, anytime you have severe downhill par 3s, and as you well know, in the summer times, the ball can bounce a little bit on you if you miss the green. That those 3 holes, if you walk away with a par, you feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, you do.
You feel like, and because all of them are holes that you can make a bogey or a double bogey if it gets away from you. So yeah, to me, the par 3s over there are heads and shoulders as far as difficulty. They're tough. They're downright tough holes. Yeah,
and if you're down on the left on number 2, ladies and gentlemen, forget it.
Yeah,
you're done.
No day at the beach.
You're done. You got to take care of the ball on that hole. No doubt about it. Now, what for whatever reason, Danny, what hole do you receive the most complaints about?
Well, I think the Jones course in general, we've got about 3 or 4 greens out there that kind of when they were built and the speeds of the greens at that time, that the slopes were such and that the greens weren't quite as fast, so that they were more playable. And occasionally, on our 12th and our 17th, although the 12th hole at the Jones or Spidell course is really one of my favorite holes that we have of all of our holes. Just how it kind of meanders out there, and you hit to a plateau, and then you kind of hit across what I call a small ravine to a green that kind of sits back in there and amongst the trees in the hill really nicely. But they're sloped, and we need to be mindful of making sure that our green speeds don't get too fast to where the ball doesn't want to stop. And I think that's probably where we might hear and I completely concur. A ball, whether you're putting down the hill or putting up the hill, it needs to be able to stop by the hole and have a chance.
Yeah.
These golf courses aren't built to have windmills and clown noses and things like that. You're meant to play golf. So that's an area from a how we mow the greens and how we take care of everything that we need to be mindful of when we set pins and not letting our green speeds get too fast. But that is the kind of the evolution, though, of how they mowed greens 50 years ago and what they could mow greens with and what they can do agriculturally right now that have created green speeds that are quite a bit higher. But when you play in the British Open, there's several courses over there that they only play at, say, 10 on the stemp meter, and by today's standards, that's very slow for torque. But the slopes are so great that between the wind and the slopes that they need to be mindful that not let the green speeds get too fast.
I got you. Now, I had a great conversation with my dear friend Randy Whirls this week, and I asked him that same question. And, his answer was number 11 on Crispin.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The tree.
The tree. The damn maple tree, Danny. Oh.
Yeah, it's out there, and it's grabbed more golf balls than any tree in Ohio County. I guarantee you.
Me too. Honestly, me too. What is your favorite hole? All courses' favorite hole, Danny?
I'm going to put it in. I'm going to say par 3, par 4, par 5, and my favorite par 3 of them all is number 4 on the Jones.
Okay.
I just love that downhill across the pond.
Yep.
The way the green sets in there. If you want to go ahead all the way back and play it from almost 95 yards from the back tee, it is a whale of a hole. But at the same time, the green is receptive, and I think it's a very fair shot. As far as par 4s, gosh, we got several good ones. I alluded to number 12 there earlier, and then just the way it's not a long hole or anything that, but it is a hole that it kind of makes you play some shots and makes you think about hitting your second shot and making sure you stay below the hole, which I think that's what good holes do. They make you, if it's a short hole and you have a short to middle iron in your hand, it makes you be selective on where you need it on the green, and that's what I like about that hole. There's several par 5s on the Palmer. What I like, and probably the 6th hole to me sticks out. I like risk reward, and I think the Palmer has several par 5s that have that characteristic that you can go for. But the 6th hole to me, that it's generous off the tee, but daggone, if you're going to go for it, you better hit a good shot. Otherwise, you could walk away with a 6 or a 7 when you thought you were going to be putting for a 3 and an easy 4.
Right.
So I kind of like the risk reward of hole 6.
Okay. I didn't do that. Was a really good idea. I wish I'd have thought of it. Come up with a 3, 4, and a 5. But my all-time favorite, of course, it's going to be on Crispin. But it's number 16.
It's a beautiful little hole.
Well, hold on. I'm about to sneeze, Danny. I'm trying to get ready to sneeze. We have these pear trees that are full out blooming right now here on 14th Street. And it's, hold on. All right. Number 16 on Crispin. I mentioned to you, I'm one of those guys not afraid to go out and golf by himself. And one day I had Michelle drop me off. Probably 2-3 years ago. And, I use what do I use there? A 5-wood. And I popped it up and I hit it well. So I go ahead and put the club back in my bag and I'm in a cart. And I go up and I'm looking because it hit the top of that knob. And when you hit the top of that knob, you're thinking, all right, you're going to get a bounce down because that's a pretty decent decline there. So I'm looking around. I don't see my ball anywhere, and I'm like, son of a gun. And I'm over in 17's tee box and, looking over there because maybe it took a bad bounce. Maybe it's too dry on the knob or whatever. And I'm looking behind the green, and I'm like, man, maybe it rolled off the green. So I go over closer to caddy camp, and I'm looking over there, and I'm like, where is this damn golf ball? Because I'm not a guy who loses golf balls. And so all of a sudden, I look at the flag, and I'm like, no way. So I walk up that little hill to the green, walk straight to the hole. Hole's kind of pretty much in the middle of the, it's a big green too, in that green.
Yeah.
And I look down, and there's that damn ball, and I'm looking everywhere for Mickey Duffy. Because, Mickey used to just ride around, watch me play every once in a while. And I'm kind of like Rocky, but I'm going, Mickey! Mickey! And he's nowhere to be found. It was my only hole in one. I have come so close on 7, probably 11 times. So close on 5, probably 20 times. But there's the damn ball on a par 4, sure, short porch, par 4, but a par 4, and I couldn't claim it. Yeah,
there was no one there to see, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you need a witness, right, Danny?
Yeah, you do, but that's in your heart that you made it, and that's you can take that one to your grave. I got to tell you a funny story on those same lines. In my time over at Longenberger, we had a
you
long
still there,
par
Danny?
5. There was, pardon me?
Danny?
Yes.
Oh, hold
you still
on.
Got me?
I did something. I'm sorry. There you are. Go ahead, Danny. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, there was something along those lines over when I worked at Longenberger. We had a long par 5, 4th hole down the hill, and it was early in the morning, and we had a guy that went out and played. He was by himself, and he was the first guy off. And after, he was out on the course for 35 minutes or something, we got a call in the golf shop. And he said, can someone come out here on the 4th hole? I've made a double eagle from the fairway and witness this. And we said, well, we can't witness it. You've already done it. He said, no, I'm sitting here in my cart. There's dew on the ground, and you'll see that my cart came to here and never went any further, and I'm not leaving until you send somebody out here to drive down to the green with me. So one of our rangers went out, pulled up next to him. The guy was sitting there in his cart. They drove down to the green. The ball mark was still there on the green. The ball was in the hole, so we kind of gave him the okay on the double eagle. So I know your head's spinning around when you do something like that, and you want someone to have seen it. So that's what he did to create a witness. So it was pretty funny.
I still have the golf ball.
As well you should. There's not many. I've got 6 hole-in-ones, but I have no double eagles in all my years of playing golf.
Right. Danny, great conversation. Please tell your dad and the family I said hi. I very much enjoyed it, and I'm sure I'll see you soon. Okay, my friend?
Thank you very much, Steve, for having me. You all the best to you. Okay?
Thank you, Danny. Thank you very much. Danny Ackerman, ladies and gentlemen, the general manager of golf operations up at Oglebay. Had a lot of fun with that conversation. Liner notes coming up during the 4 o'clock hour. Jon Banco's coming on in at 4:30-ish. We'll have Mr. Gregg Molnar on the program as well. I'm Steve Novotney. It is Steve Novotney Lives right here on Lead News.
Yeah.
Because you can drive all the way down to the athletic field.
Yeah.
And you just let him go.
Yeah, we used to do the symphony fundraiser for High County Strings, and they would do it in there, and it was really cool because Ben Podolsky and a couple of kids would get together and they would play, and in that room, because it's solid like oak wood everywhere, the acoustics are amazing.
Yep.
And it's a really unique place up there. But yeah, Ogilvy's fantastic. Music, you want to get into some of the schedules?
I want to hear the lineup because on Monday I had Jessica Ryan on.
Yeah.
and we talked about red, white, and brew.
Yes.
So, why don't you tell us who's playing that little shindig on July 2nd?
All right, so Red, White, and Brew, it's going to be kind of a downsized version this year.
Friday night.
We did it on, I believe they did it on Saturdays before, and we kind of did a day-long thing. And this year we're going to kind of condense it. So we're going to do it on July 2nd because we already have the first and third Fridays booked, so it just made sense. I think they're going to shut the street down right around 4:35. And right at 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish, we're going to have the Muddle. And they're going to play for about 2 hours. And then we'll do a transition. And we'll have MSM close out the night. Miller Smith Major, tightest trio in all the land.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So it'll be great. The music's going to be great. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of beer and food down there for everyone. And, looking forward to that. I think that's going to be
So only one band?
Two. You got the Muddle and MSM.
Okay.
Yeah, the Muddle's opening up for MSM. Yeah.
Wow. Wait a minute. Hold on. You didn't book yourself down there?
No, we Mojo Kings are going to book there August 6th. So
Gotcha.
I booked this before they decided to place Red, White, and Brew on that date. So
Gotcha.
we had MSM booked, and then we added the Muddle as an opening
That's
act.
two great acts, man.
Oh yeah, and they do two completely different sets of music. Kathy, does a lot of that female and also male 90s alternative rock, and MSM is just that classic rock, that light rock, and a little bit of country too. And they just everything's so. When they play, it's just like, am I listening to a recording?
I know.
And it's a lot of it's their equipment. I think Mike owns like $40,000 worth of basses when he shows up in his car. I think he's hauling around something worth more than the vehicle he's in usually. So, and they all do. They just some of their equipment. I'm like, this is the best of the best. So yeah, that's Red, White, and Brew. I'm sure Jess has a lot more details about what the vendors are and things like that. I'm really not on that angle. I just booked the entertainment. But yeah, the whole Center Market series is looking great. And just to remind everybody, that's going to kick off June 4th with the Gage Joseph Band. Then we're going to do every first and third Friday throughout the summer until we hit October 1st. I talked to Jess. I think we're gonna go for the Big Street Fest, and that'll be on September 25th. And that we're calling it Oktoberfest, but it's the last Saturday in September.
That'll be cool.
That's how they do it in Germany.
Yeah.
So that'll be great. That'll be great. I'm looking forward to that series a lot, and I think everybody in Wheeling is chomping at the bit for this.
Just please, whatever the guidelines are, follow them so the city doesn't say, well, I guess we can't do this.
Right.
Just if you have to wear a mask, have fun with it. I say it every week.
And it's basically 2 months away, so I think we got a little time for everything to settle down.
Hey, if you like the podcast and you like lead, I'll get you one of these.
Ooh. But yeah, this week we got a great lineup. We'll go through some of what we have here. So let's go with Thursday. I always forget that these are Wednesdays now. I'm so used to us being on Thursday radio. So it's like,
thank God we aren't.
Right. So Thursday at the 19th hole, they're going to have Mr. Buck Porter. He's going to be there from 6 to 8.
Yeah, I want to go to that.
Yeah, that'll be going. Buck's a great guy.
I'm a big supporter of Buck Porter.
Yeah. We have Friday at the 19th hole. It's Mr. Gregg Molnar from 6 to 8 for their happy hour. Quaker Steak and Lube is going to have Mr. Bob Gaudio from 7 to 10. And at River City, Friday evening, Mr. Jim Bursey is going to be there from 8 to 11.
Where is that again? I'm sorry.
River City.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
No, listen, when we took Michelle to Generations for her birthday, okay, Jim was in that back room because that's how Mike had to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I went back and I said, hey, Jim. And I told him about Michelle's. He did a great job wishing Michelle a happy birthday.
Yeah.
I was so appreciative. Michelle just loved it. So I'm supporting Jim Bursey whenever I can.
I don't think I've ever seen Jim Bursey not smiling. He always has a permanent smile on his face. And his over the years, I mean, his song selection has just kept building and building, and he's gotten better and better. And it's really cool. And I'm looking forward to possibly getting Punching Oswald sometime to play. We're looking to try to get them at the hole.
They're phenomenal.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, they do a lot of 90s rock that is very nostalgic. But he'll be at River City from 8 to 11. Eli and I will be at the Stifle Mansion, but it's already a sold-out event. It's for a beer tasting event there. But keep your eyes and ears open for things at Stifle Center because they do wine tastings, they do beer tasting, craft beer tastings. They do a lot of cool stuff throughout the summer, and they also pair it with some music. I think we have an event coming up with Roger there on May 14th, I believe, something like that. And that'll be, I think, the next event. So, yeah, get on Stifle's website and see what they got going on. If you're into the wine tasting and beer tastings, which I don't know too many people that aren't.
I don't like wine.
Yeah, well, you know what? I haven't gotten there yet. I have a feeling I will one day. I'm just not there yet.
Mad Dog killed me.
Mad Dog kills everybody, Steve.
I'm just telling you. I can't smell.
Literally.
I can't smell red wine.
drinking.
I can't smell.
Wow.
It's like,
See, mine was Boone's Farm. Yeah, we did Boone's Farm in high school, and that was it. I was like, ugh.
well, then can you do
It's just malt liquor.
Oh.
Stop putting farm behind words and making it sound like
Right.
you're out there squishing grapes with your feet or something. Yeah, no, it's malt liquor. But no, so that's Friday, and then Saturday we got a couple more going on here. We'll kick it off once again. It's a Jim Bursey weekend. We got at Belmont Brew Works. On Saturday, they're going to have Mr. Jim Bursey from 6 to 9. Belmont Brew Works is located in Martins Ferry, Ohio. They have a beautiful yard that they put out. It's actually AstroTurf from the old, what field would be? The Purple Riders? Is that what they are?
Yeah.
Yeah. The old football team field there, the high school they took that and they just drew lines on it and kept it the same. I don't know what they did. I don't think they painted it, but they just set it there. It looks great, and it's year-round grass.
It does
it's fantastic.
look good.
It does.
You
can walk on it in your bare feet, and you're like, this is beautiful.
Ooh.
Feels like a carpet.
You did that?
No, well, you could.
Oh, okay.
But they have a nice little patio there, too, in case it rains. I don't think it's going to. Then they have a beautiful interior as well. And they got some really cool food selections there, craft beer selections. You can do a flight and do a taste test with
Don't
the
they
flights.
have margarita flights?
I'm not sure. I haven't been there. I had lunch there about 3 or 4 months ago, so they might have incorporated some of this stuff now that summer is. Margarita sounds like a summery drink, so they might be doing that now. And they have shakes, these chocolate shakes that are infused with liqueur. And some of them are really good. I mean, they're not good for you, but they're good for you. You know what I mean?
They got Bud Light?
Yeah, I think they got.
Then I'm good.
I'm pretty sure they do. I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I would almost guarantee they do. But they're doing a great job there, and the place is beautiful. And Jim Bursey will be there from 6 to 9 on Saturday. Lakeview Patio. Up at Oglebay Park. It's going to be Mr. Gregg Molnar. He actually filled in for Mr. Eli Lambie last week. Me and him did, and we had a great time. It was fantastic. A lot of mix of a crowd with locals and people from out of town. Oglebay was doing a deal last week where if you bought a room, you got an extra night free. So a lot of the locals kind of did a staycation and went up there, and it was cool. It was nice. And if it does rain, that will be moved into Hickman Lounge. But once again, hopefully the weather will hold out, and we'll see what's going on. Prima Marina, Saturday evening, is going to have Mr. Danny Welsh, 7 to 10. Riverside Restaurant in Powhatan is going to have Marcus and James from 7 to 10. And at the Black Sheep Vineyard, Saturday evening, it's going to be the Eli Lambie Trio. So it'll be Eli, myself, and Mr. John Lequier on drums, and we're going to mix it up with a little jazz, a little dinner music, a little this, a little that, do our classic, dance music too, but it's just a smaller version. We'll get the full band in there very soon, but for now, we're just going to do a little trio. And that'll be 7:30 to 10 at Black Sheep this Saturday. At the Naughty Pines, Saturday night, Mr. Jeff Suddeth will be there from 7:30 to 10:30. And at the Alpha Tavern, they're going to have the Crazy Horse Trio from 8:30 to 11:30. So a really good lineup this week. It's growing every week. As I said, in May, once we hit May, we should be up to close to 20 events a week. And you can kind of pick and choose and see it. I'm incorporating some bands from out of town a little bit. Not too much. I like to keep it local. But I met with the Salsa Joe's one of the partners there today, and we got his summer lineup finalized. It looks good. We got a good mix. They want to do bands and acoustic, solo, and duo stuff. So it's another venue that is yet offering for bands, because for a long time we couldn't do bands anywhere.
I know.
Even when things were open, there wasn't a lot of band places, so it's really cool to see that coming to fruition as well.
Yeah, it was kind of a kick in the crotch when Justice said you can't sing and you can't play woodwind instruments.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, but those days are over. Hopefully, they stay over. I've been following your post about cases and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh,
yeah.
And here, I mean, I'm really hoping that an Easter spike doesn't happen.
Yeah, and we'll know that 2 weeks from now.
No, about a week and a half. Yeah.
We'll see. I hope not.
You know, I get the emails from the surrounding counties, and except Belmont. That's why I don't have Belmont on there. And I've requested them, but but when I get it from Marshall County, I'm always like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I get it from Howard Gamble from Ohio County, and it seems like Marshall County, you got 1, 2, 3 every once in a while. Ohio County's like 15.
Wow.
And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, hopefully everything maintains and stays on this current path. The vaccinations are a great thing, but we're in this transition where people are feeling, at least in my opinion, they're feeling more comfortable about things, which is good. It's good to feel comfortable, but not preemptively too comfortable to where you're going to prolong this thing. It just seems like this thing has just been prolonged by people arguing over the merits of it instead of just reacting to the situation in a logical way. It's like, we're going to fight over this so it lasts longer, so we can fight over this so it'll last longer, so we can fight over this so it'll last longer. And it's just kicking the can down the road. Like, let's get this thing over with so we can go. I know the shutdown wasn't fun. Believe me, I know. But yeah, I'd rather get it back to where we're back. But who knows? It's tough because we're dealing with a society of human beings, and
yes, we are,
and we're all beautiful snowflakes.
No, we're not.
Different in every way.
All right, I didn't know what you meant by snowflake.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But, I got baseball right here.
We're all different and beautiful in our own little way, which is what makes our country great, but at the same time, it can hold us back in situations like this, too.
Very true. All right, let's go ahead and take the bottom of the hour break.
Yeah.
We'll get Greg on the phone.
Greggy.
And we will talk to the legend who is Gregg Molnar. Uh-huh.
Okay.
You like that.
Yeah.
You like that lots.
The tail end was very nice. Yes.
Yes, there you go.
It was almost troubadourish.
Troubadour. All right, we'll go ahead and take the bottom of the hour break. Last segment coming up, Gregg Molnar. He's been a musician in 178 different bands during his career, and I don't know if that's accurate or not. That's a complete and total guess, but Gregg Molnar coming up. It is Liner Notes with Jon Banco. I'm Steve Novotney. It is Steve Novotney Lives right here on Lead News. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm Steve Novotney. Mr. Jon Banco is here. We've renamed this segment from Live and Local because, that was on crappy radio, and now it is Liner Notes.
I love it.
Yes. Let's just not. Let's go to the retired guy. Let's go to the retired guy sitting up in his big old house, up in the hills, in the woods.
Starts every day with a nice freshly cut grapefruit with some sugar sprinkled on it.
Yeah, he just walks outside
in his robe
and looks over at Margie and says, "Hello, lovey."
Walks out front. It's good to own land.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
You guys are funny.
Well, I mean,
I've never owned a robe, but the rest of that's not completely inaccurate. Margie still works.
Well, of course. I mean,
someone's got to take care of you.
Yeah, someone's got.
Yeah, right. I know. Yes. Absolutely.
What time does Hazel show up to clean the house?
Uh-huh.
You know what's great? That's me. You know what's great is every day's Saturday except Sunday. It's great. It's not bad.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I feel you, baby. But
you know what? I'm staying busy. I'm working. I'm helping my son start a business, and I went to real estate school. I just haven't graduated yet. And music's kicking back up.
Yeah. Now let's go back to that real estate school. All
yes.
right. What do you got to do to get into real estate?
Well, I'm going to Ohio. So it's 120 hours. It's online, of course. Nothing's live anymore. And you take 4 courses: law, principles and practices, appraisals, and financing.
Okay.
And then you have to test out of each one. And I've tested out of 3, but Frank, I took law and I didn't pass the test to get out of school. So I'm prepping to take it again.
Okay. Here's how. This is the key, man. You ready?
Well, I mean, I could cheat. I could do an open book and take forever and look everything up, but I don't want to do that.
I get that.
But go ahead.
There's legal and there's illegal when it comes to law.
Yeah, right. I know. What's funny is I'll
it's a
be
50-50.
studying or listening to a professor, and Margie will walk by. My wife's a realtor, folks, and she'll be like, "You'll never need to use that. You'll never do that. We don't know that." So I'm learning, and I think this is probably typical of a lot of education, especially later in life education. They teach you 1,000 things, 985 of which you probably will never use.
Kind of like algebra.
Yeah, exactly.
No, wait.
But it's okay.
Tell me how you have ever applied a theorem to real life.
I kind of take it one day at a time, really.
That's not a theorem.
Yeah, right. I know. I know. I'm not sure what a theorem, even how to define theorem.
A theorem is a definition. It's a geometrical definition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, impossible.
Kind of like the right angle.
That way.
The right angle is a theorem.
Yep. Okay. I got you.
All right.
Yeah. Isosceles triangle. Yeah. If you're gonna triangulate the distance from here to some star, I guess you can use it, but I don't really do that.
Right. Well, there's no houses on stars.
I do see a guitar neck geometrically, for sure. There are patterns on it. Most guitar players would tell you that.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Yep. We got our boxes and our triangles, and it's weird stuff.
Gregg, in preparation for you to be on Liner Notes this week, I started I got a notebook and I started, marking down how many bands that you've ever been in, and I came up with 178.
What, did you go back prior to 2018? I mean, you should have went earlier. No, not that many. Geez, come on. I don't know why people call me.
But see, here's the thing, too. I mean, after 178 times, you would think they'd just quit calling.
Well, it's going to reach the point soon where I will pay them to have me in the band. So hopefully that's a while, but it could flip.
It's a pay to play system. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I know this lady over at Home of Good Shepherd named Ruthie.
Yes.
She could probably place you in a band over there.
Who did? Was that you on the phone when you called?
Huh?
Was that John or Steve?
That was Steve.
That was Ruthie.
That was pretty good.
Nice.
Greg, you got to be careful the next time because me and Greg we have done Good Shepherd gigs. And I
Yes,
could
we
just, you just got to be careful because one day, you might be told that you're going to a gig and Margie might just sign you in.
Lucky
They
ball.
might not let me leave.
Right.
Yeah. That'll be okay. I'll be the Wednesday night dinner guy.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that's at 3:30 in the afternoon, there, Greg.
Right. Supper.
Exactly.
Supper.
It kind of is. I think John, it was like 5:30, right?
It was.
Something
It
like
was.
that. Yeah.
Those were
I
fun.
actually had one scheduled last year. I do about one or two a year.
What did we want to name it? I think we named it. No, I'm not gonna. No, we're not doing
Easy.
that. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Yeah,
Easy.
there's
I'm
lines.
too close to like actually being a resident, so we
Right.
have to behave.
Tom Petty and the Hip Breakers. I think that's what we call it.
That's what it was.
Hey, easy. My parents are 90 and 88. Let's not
Yeah.
talk about it,
Man.
Yeah, greatest band name ever.
Greg, how
You know what, Steve? I
ahead.
love a lot of those old songs. My dad used to sing them to me. My mom, the stuff from the 40s, 50s. Nowadays, people in those homes, they want to hear Pink Floyd and stuff. I mean, the times have changed.
Yeah, they
for
have.
sure.
Yeah, I can remember the
Yeah.
great Al Molnar. Okay, I was
Yes.
blessed to work with Al Molnar. Blessed.
Right.
And I remember
bless his
him.
soul.
He was just, in the newsroom, he was one of the happiest, joyous people in the whole wide world. But whatever, and out when he went outside, not all that, right? And I'm not blaming
His
Greg,
dad,
by
he
the
had
way.
hands full.
And
Yeah.
he'd walk around, please release me, let me go,
Yeah, I remember a few of those.
'cause
There's
I
dotes and dozy dotes and
don't
little
love
lambs beside me. I never knew
you
what that meant.
anymore.
It's beautiful.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
you got your horn? I've been trying to get him to sing on the air for I don't know,
yeah.
5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
There it is.
here's what we're going to do at Christmas, okay?
Huh? Yes.
You're a mean one,
Yeah, we're gonna do the Grinch, all 5 verses.
Mr. Grinch.
That's awesome.
I think is there 5? I think there's 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think
it's a
so.
long song.
Yeah, there's 5 or 6. There's a bunch. I have them all. Don't tease me, Steve, now. Come on, man.
To live our lives would be a sin.
That's some old,
Yeah,
oldies
stick
right
with
there.
the Grinch.
Stick with the Grinch.
Stick with the Grinch. All right. What is my favorite Christmas song? I really don't know, but
There are many. I have many.
This come
There are
Christmas.
too many.
This come Christmas, we got to get back to the tradition, Greg. We got to have a Christmas, something of a Christmas show for all the terrific people out in the public.
Love it. Be glad to.
Yeah.
It'd be my honor, sir.
So, Greg, seriously, this whole damn pandemic and the shutdown and everything,
Right.
how have you managed? I'm goofing around about the retirement and everything, but seriously.
Yeah, sure.
And,
Well,
you were out and about a little bit too, weren't you?
Yeah, I was out a lot. I mean, back, my work career ended 1st of January. So prior to that, I was working full time, and I was, I was a customer service kind of guy. So I was out visiting my people, and I was out in it, masked up. Margie and I caught COVID. We had it in November at Thanksgiving. It wasn't a bad case, thank God. I know many people can't say that. I have some friends that I've lost.
Yeah, we all do.
So we feel very fortunate that we got in and out of it in a couple weeks.
I mean, Greg, do you think you got it at work and then took it home, unfortunately?
Yeah, you know what? I think I caught it at a gig.
Okay.
It was a Thursday night. I won't mention, I won't say where. I'll tell you guys off the air if you want to know. But it was, things were starting to loosen up, and I was probably mingling a little more than I should have. And I even came home that night, and I told my wife, I said, if I catch it, tonight will be the night. And 2 days later, boom, we had it. Yeah, drag.
Yeah, I bet. But it wasn't all that bad on you, was it?
It was like a mild flu. I had a slight fever. We both did. A lot of sniffles.
Yeah.
A lot of fatigue. Very, very low energy. And then we lost our taste and smell, which was horrific.
Well,
that
you
was
never
the worst
really
part.
had a lot of taste, Greg.
What's that?
Wait a minute.
I said you've never really had a lot
No
of
one's
taste.
ever accused me of having good taste. I know.
Oh, he's got the laugh track. That's fantastic.
That's nice.
That's great.
Both of you.
I feel like we're on the set of 2.5 Men right now.
2.5 Men.
Well, yeah. I don't know which one's the half.
Steve, you got all that cool stuff. That's hilarious.
Well, you know what they say. When you have Jon Banco on the air, every once in a while you gotta play your own instrument.
You got to do the rim shot.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when you ask your guest a tough question, and I'm kind of good at that. A lot of times you get, well, of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
Easy. Yeah.
Well, we'll be hearing plenty of those very soon.
You think?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, isn't this the year where we're going to get the
Man!
Cicadas.
What is it?
Cicadas?
Every year is 17 years? We just had him a few
17
years ago.
somewhere.
Yeah.
We just had him a few years ago. Why do we have to have the damn locusts? Cicadas. And then my buddy Greg's like, hey, I've got a bunch of cicadas. You want to see what they taste like? No.
I'm sure they're high in protein, but no thanks.
Yeah, that's a hard pass right there. I'm good.
No, I never want to taste a cicada. Yuck.
Listen, man, I got a great cicada story. I'll be brief.
Okay.
So when we were kids, we could probably count backwards in 17s and see what year, but I was probably 8 or 10. Our neighbor's dog, we had the locusts, and our neighbor's dog, Snuffles, ate. He must have ate a bunch of them. So we're all out in the side yard, and he regurgitated them in a couple of healthy piles, and then he ate that. And we just all thought that was the greatest thing we ever saw. It was the highlight of the summer. I had a brilliant night.
Dog never let anything go to waste.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, Greg, you got 2 gigs?
Refried cicadas.
You got 2 gigs this week.
I do.
You do.
Thank
You got the hole, and you got the. You'll be back at the. Well, hopefully you'll be outside on the Lakeview patio. That is what it is now formerly known as.
Yeah, I'm at.
You haven't been at the
do
hole
they call that the spa
for
patio
a
up there?
year. Yeah, it was spa for a minute, and then I think they changed it. It's now officially the Lakeview. Yeah. What's it feel? What's it going to feel like to get back in the hole?
The hole's awesome.
I know.
I love the hole.
Yes.
I miss Angie. I mean, I've been in there occasionally buying wings to go.
Yeah.
Not the same. Yeah, it'll be great. Great venue. If you're listening, I always say it when I'm there, but they do have my opinion, the best wings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And cold beers, nice atmosphere, good people.
Now,
It's a great
Gregor,
place.
are you a drummy guy or a flats guy?
I prefer the drummies. Yeah.
All right,
I'm a
then you
drummy
and
guy,
I-
But I eat the flats too.
You and I should go eat wings together because I'm a flat only. You can have all the drummies. I'll eat the flats. We'll be good.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. I love them.
Oh, we only have a couple minutes left.
I buy them mild, and then I get hot sauce to dip them in.
Right.
So I want to control my own heat.
All right, so you got some gigs coming up, Greg. Let's really get those gigs out. When are you at the hole?
I think I'm there tomorrow, Johnny.
Friday.
Friday the 9th.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Friday
the
night, 6 to 8.
And then you're up on
April
the
10th.
you're on the Lakeview when?
Saturday the 10th. Oglebay. They've started that back up. It's a great venue.
Very cool. Yeah, and they have the little
then-
heaters and everything. It's pretty neat.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, thank you, Oglebay. They're big supporters of live local music. They really are. They
Well,
do
you know
lots of
why?
stuff all year.
You want to know why? I'll tell you why. real quick.
I'm listening.
John Hargleroad and Jon Banco.
I know John Hargleroad. He's gone. I'm pretty sure he's completely out of the picture.
Not completely, but
okay, but he set the stage up there.
He
He
sure
put
did.
a lot of things in motion. Yeah.
and he's the one that contacted Jon Banco and really got Live and Local going up in Oglebay. And I give those two men a lot of credit.
Give it all
Good
to
man.
John.
Yeah, I like John.
He's
I know
the
him
man.
pretty well.
Yes.
And then next week, Tiger Pub in Shadyside on Friday.
With the incredible
Jon
Rich Gooch.
Banco is rumored to be making an appearance that
Yes,
evening.
I will be there.
On Saturday, next, Brew Works in Martins Ferry. Go see Amanda. It's a great venue. I'll probably be outside. They got a nice porch and a nice. They have a side yard. I think it's AstroTurf.
It
It's
is.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, it came from, it's the old turf off Purple Rider Stadium.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't see any lines or numbers or hash marks, but
Reclaimed.
And then,
They call it reclaimed.
I need to throw a shout out for my band Easy Street. We're going to be at the Black Sheep Vineyard on April 24th, so that's 2 Saturdays.
All right, band
And
179.
that's far enough into the future. I can't.
That was
even
band
think that
one, I
far down the
believe.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, my man, we're going to let you get going. Thank you so much. We'll have you back on the show again in the future, okay?
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, hey, I got you saved on my desktop now, so you're one click away now.
Beautiful.
Lead news.
And now I have your new cell phone number. I'll put it into my phone.
I don't know who we were
Is that
calling.
why you called late? Whoops.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
We should have just done the interview with whoever answered that line.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
That would have been fun. That would have been a lot of fun.
Love the show. Thanks, guys.
You bet. Gregg Molnar, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, one of many great live and local performers. Great job today, John. Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You betcha. That'll do it for us. I'll be back on Friday, ladies and gentlemen, 3 to 5 p.m. Until then, God bless you, folks. We'll talk again.